Dexter New Blood, episode 2, titled Storm as Fuck, and this episode is a really, really well done episode. Not as perfectly crafted as last week's episode. Last week's episode was just so rich and so crafted together of seeing Dexter in this new life, this new environment, his new identity, and having the journey of the dark passage knocking on the door, and his eager not to kill, but he fails to do so, and Harrison coming back in his life and all that. For me, that was really well put together, a good way to, a brilliant way to have this character back and have him breaking his, him back in his old habits again. Well, this episode is essentially about Dexter reuniting with Harrison, finding out what happened to Hannah, finding out his Harrison's life after the final episode of season 8 and what happened and all that kind of stuff. Well, I also have Dexter kind of on this kind of weird edge thing of, like, Dexter's always like this very cold character. He's very distant, like outside of the dark passage of the voiceover, he's a very distant character, a very distant person. So you can sense, like, Harrison's like, am I going to get anything? Are you going to talk to me? Like, any... Like, in the first conversation, it was... In the first scene that we get is, yes, what happened to Hannah? But 2, it's... pancakes with blueberries. You like that? And Harrison's like, yeah, when I was 5. And it's that weird thing of, like, the last time you saw this person, they were 5. Now they're, 15, 16, whatever old Harrison is. And it's this really interesting dynamic in the show and in this story. And it's just like this relationship is going to be... I have a feeling Harrison's going to find out. He's going to find out at least that Dexter is not that well quipped together as he might think, and he probably will find out a version of the reasons why. But what the core story is, it's simply Dexter trying to do his number one rule, which is don't get caught. While there's an investigation going around trying to find Max, which of course Max is in little pieces. We don't know where Dexter put Max in. If I assume at the bottom of the frozen lake, so the fishes can kind of feed on, like, he gave the fishes like like years of food. I don't know, but there's a sense of enjoyment of seeing Dexter, who is in a situation that we have seen him before, and that is, okay, there's an investigation right now, in this case a search party, but I know this guy's dead because I killed him, so, and there's a trail of blood that leads him to the deer. Okay, I need to cover my tracks. We have seen that before, but because it's not Miami anymore, it is in the snowy environment, there's a sense of new, and it's like something that we know, but at the same time it's new and different. And it's those little things, saying like Dexter covering, driving along the blood, like trying to spot the blood while driving and using the snow to cover it. To create a different story, to create the story he wants the police to tell versus the actual events that happen. And it's that kind of, once again, fun aspect thing, which is always weird to say. The fun thing about it, knowing who Dexter is a serial killer. Dexter Morgan is a serial killer. But it's that weird thing of saying the fun aspect of it. But knowing Dexter's character is that weird thing, right? But what's also interesting about it is Deborah. Last week, it kind of did hammer home that Deborah is the new Harry, the ghost that Dexter sees all the time and he talks to. And Deborah acts more Deborah-y in this episode. She's basically saying, Dexter, you fuck. And the moment that happened, I'm like, hey, Deborah, how's it been? What have you been doing? Oh, well, yeah, in the middle of the ocean. But Deborah is like, you're a fucking serial killer. You gotta fuck this kid up. Yeah, you slept one fucking time. You fucked her. Yeah, all these insults. And Dexter's like on the breaking point of the stop. Yeah, to the point he snaps. I think it's in one of the trailers that scene happens. But there's I kind of, like, I was curious about, let's see how this works, this whole, like, Deborah being the new Harry, and let's see how this flows. But it works so well. I so want to know a little bit more about Harrison, about those 3 years outside of foster homes. We find out he has his own demons. I'm wondering, does he really know how we died? Like, does he know that, oh, my birth mom died? Or does he actually know that, oh, my mum was murdered? Maybe not the full detail about Trinity Killer and, Dexter fighting him in the pool of blood, but it's going to be interesting. Does he know the details, or does he just know Wita is dead and that's it? So many questions. What you're curious about one character that you know them as this age, but and now that age, all these questions have come up. It's just a really well put together episode, and of course we meet. But the one thing I will also mention before we go off and I'll go to sleep and all that kind of stuff is that, have everyone noticed that the heighter, let's say the more wealthy side of this town, is kind of using community as their weapon, as they're like, look what we have, look at what I have done for you. I've done this, I've done that, and done this, and done that, and done this for this town. I love this town, and this is how you're paying me, in a kind of friendly gesture. It's a really interesting way of looking at it, and clearly these wealthy people of the town are the signs of our big bad, who have some link to the missing people, and is all that. So